Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast that talks about what it really takes to be healthy in today's modern, fast-paced world. We're going to pull back the curtains, and today I am here with Alisha Bowker, and we are going to talk about what do you do with those little whispers and those little nudges and those intrusive thoughts that come in and out of your brain today? Because I don't know a woman that doesn't have them. And Alicia, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, there was a time in my life that I fought those thoughts so much.
Mm.
So I'm really excited for us to just talk about that human to human. But before we get into that, tell everyone, who are you? Where are you from? What makes you you? Just even outside why you came on the podcast today.
I am Alicia, and I grew up in Southern California, and I'm currently residing in Miami, Florida. This is my fifth state, so I've been all over the country, which has been exciting. I think New York City will forever be my favorite place I've ever lived. Um, but I am a therapist and also a coach. I have been practicing therapy for too many years to count. I have a private practice. I love what I do, and in my coaching world is a newer baby, newer project. But I think it really is a nice extension of what I already know and love, and another way to get more creative, to expand, to be more inventive, and kind of reach people in a new and different way than what traditional therapy offers. I don't remember your full question, but I have a cat who I'm obsessed with.
What's your cat's name?
His name is Walter. He's my little buddy. Will be 8 this year. I rescued him when I lived in New Orleans, so he's lived in 3 states
He's
himself.
been
World
everywhere.
traveler.
He's a
Yes,
world
he
traveler.
is. He is. But yeah, I'm also really into Pilates. That's another thing I'm trying to bring into my coaching business soon. I'm about to get certified in at least the mat portion. We're having to move, so I couldn't do the full training, but about to do that. So that's going to be something I'm going to be offering soon as well. So really just into getting into your body, getting into your mind, feeling confident, comfortable, and taking up space in the world because you're more than allowed to. And
Yes.
I want to give everyone permission to do that. So
I love that you said that because I'm sitting here. What the audience, the listener right now doesn't know is that before we hit record, I was having an identity crisis moment before we hit start because my whole morning, I, let's be real about it. I scrolled too long this morning. And then
yeah,
I made the mistake of checking my email. And then next thing I knew, I was like, I wanted to go for a run before my day started. And I was like, so then I went for the run because I was like, you know what?
I'm
Maybe
gonna
it's
do
not the run I wanted, but I can get something done.
it. Yep.
And from there, I went into doing a training in my Facebook group to then immediately needing to record here. And so,
Hmm.
I haven't showered. I'm still sweaty from an hour and a half ago because it's been go, go, go. And my internal monologue right now is your hair is frizzy, you look homeless. And I'm like, be present with her. She's such a gift. And at the same time, I share that because I think as women, we deal with this all the time. And then we think we're broken
Yeah.
and we use it as a crutch not to do the things that we actually want in life because we always think we're behind
Yes.
and we're
Oh,
not.
no. And
You're
time is
exactly
such a construct. And like behind is our own making. And I do think it's funny that people will often say, and myself included, oh, but I don't have time for that. And yet we have time for like the dumbest shit. Like you said, like I could sit there for 30 minutes, like, I don't know, organizing my pens, but I don't have time to do something
yes.
important, like take the full shower, go to do the workout, like get groceries, eat food. So it's so relative. And when you really think of it, you're like, oh yeah, duh. But we just get in these autopilots, or we have these weird messages, or I don't know what it is, but we get stuck in these very weird spaces where you're like, no, but we have time. We just
I
have to
laugh.
figure out how we think about it.
I rearranged my plants the other day.
And I'm sure it was like a great thing, but like,
Because in the moment I'm like, man, I'm really tired. It been on my brain for so long that they were irritating me. They needed to be
yep,
repotted and they were
yep,
the leaves were falling and I needed to clean because it was messy and dusty. But that was 45 minutes I didn't plan on using to
right,
reorganize plants. What the
right,
crap? But then
right.
when it comes to going after my dreams, at least previously it was like, I don't have time for this.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
not right now.
Yep.
And I think that the world has done us a disservice. And I love that we want to, that there's people like you and I who have experienced that, who can
Mhm.
really just go share like how messy it is and show up messily. Like, not just
Mhm.
talk about being messy, but truly
Yeah.
being the messy person doing the things and
Yeah.
letting it be okay and good enough to get to the next step.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think part of it too, especially as women, we don't we we're taught not to put ourselves, God forbid, first. But I think a lot of us aren't even on our own list, right? We're everyone else and all the other things and all the other people places, but where are we? And then you get the pushback, well, it's selfish, or I'm not going to be a good mother or partner or a good employee if I do this or X, Y, or Z. And so we get so caught up in what everyone else needs, or if our need might fit within everyone else's needs, that we forget about ourselves. We're not connected to ourselves anymore. We're not even listening to the little voice. We don't even know what we want. We don't even know what we're doing for the day. It's totally driven by everyone else's narrative, right? And that like that's spinning our wheels, and that's exhausting, and it doesn't get us anywhere, and it's really
That's when we use
unfulfilling too.
words like, I'm busy. How are you? I'm busy. It's so busy.
Mm-hmm. But like,
And
what does
all
that mean?
busy, yeah,
Yeah.
all busy really means is that I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm on a hamster wheel, and I don't know how to get off.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say I'm busy to validate all of
Like,
the
I'm doing
feelings I'm
stuff.
having so that you
Yes.
think I'm doing all the things.
Yep. Yep. I'm reading this new book. It's called On Our Best Behavior, by, well, I think it was new last year, but new to me, by Elise Loenin. And it talks about the seven deadly sins and how women are kept small and trapped within each of those. And so that really hits on that idea of
Hmm.
slothfulness. So, like, well, we can't just sit still. We can't just relax on a weekend. We have to prove our worth. We have to show up. We have to be doing things all the time, whether it's rearranging plants or wiping the counter down, or, but just to
That
be
no
busy.
one else cares about.
Right. Because we inherently feel our worth is tied to our productivity. And that is such a dangerous, slippery slope, especially in the modern day of, especially if you have kids, be the best mom, but work more than a full time job, but also show up for yourself and don't do that. And that's not all possible to do all those things in one
Hmm.
day. But it really drives home this continued message of rest is not even a word in there. If like rest is on your list, or restoration, pausing, slowing down, ooh, I have to justify it. I have to make it sound like something, like there's a reason, oh, I was sick, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like, no, you're allowed to just sit and do nothing for a
You're
day.
allowed
But
to just exist and be.
yeah.
I have two thoughts.
Mhm.
One is I think part of that comes from I worked 12 and a half years in a very high demand, high stress, male dominated
Mhm.
workforce. I worked in nuclear power for a commercial power company for 12 years, 12 and a half years. And I was constantly having to earn the right to be there. And so a lot of the doing was just earning and showing people I deserved to be there. Whereas my counterparts didn't, maybe weren't working. Maybe they were. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
me personally, I think that women have that narrative of because I can, and that's new to us, we
Mhm.
constantly have to prove to people that we deserve it
Right.
and that we can handle it and that we
Right.
are capable, and that in itself is exhausting. But the other thing that I was thinking about that kept popping up while you were sharing is going to be is really going to be controversial, and I know it's going to rub someone the wrong way, but I think that we do, that there are a lot of women who aren't on their own to-do list and don't think about it, and they say I'm too busy and I have to do all these things as a really easy scapegoat and excuse not to deal with their own shit.
100%. It's way
Because
more interesting and entertaining to deal with everyone else's than look at ourselves. And I'm just as guilty of that in certain areas too.
yeah,
And
I can hear that one woman right now, like, no, you don't understand. Like,
mhm,
I have all these demands on me. No,
mhm,
not really. I mean, maybe, but you don't want to deal with your own shit, so you're pouring into everyone else.
yeah,
And or you are actually, and this is gonna hurt, you're actually manipulating everyone around you to see value in you for certain things rather than who you actually are, because you want them to like you want them to celebrate you, you want them to see your hard work. And that's
Mhm,
actually a form of manipulation, and that is
mhm,
a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
mhm, mhm. And I think it really comes back to this idea of you don't really believe in your own self-worth, right? Self-worth is not self-esteem. Self-worth is you're just inherently born and therefore you are worthy. Self-esteem is I feel as a mindset, I feel more confident in this area, I feel more confident in that area. But I think that so many of us, and there was a number of years for myself where I really wasn't connected to my self-worth. I thought I had to do stuff for people to be worthy, to be accepted, to be,
We're gonna
I'm
love
earning my love,
you're
right?
gonna love this.
And so it's such a powerful concept, and I think that's where that voice comes in. Something is saying, "Ooh, you better make the cupcakes from scratch, or you're gonna be the bad room mom, or you better, like, get him that really nice gift, or your partner might not think you love him enough." And it's like that voice, we listen to the wrong parts of the voice, right? We really attach to the stuff that's not true, maybe not as helpful, that really brings us down or keeps us small, and we ignore and push aside and say like, oh, whatever, you're wrong, to the voice that's really like, no, you're a badass, you got this, like you're on the same playing field. We, for whatever reason, that doesn't count, but this voice over here, like 100% is the gospel truth, and I'm going to listen to it and follow it.
Oh,
And
that
I
is
think
so
that's where we keep our own selves small, and we run our own selves into the ground because we're just trying to earn something that's sitting right next to us, but we're still like, oh, I got to do more, I got to do more. All we have to do is pick it up and believe it, and that's hard, but
it
it's
is hard.
also so easy if you really boil it down, which is refreshing in a way too, I guess.
It is hard, and I know for me, right, and in my experience, it's hard because sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be like, what do I actually want from doing these things?
Yes.
Is it a deeper connection? Okay, well, is this actually the way I want to create that deeper connection? Or is there something else that would actually feel better, less exhausting, and less like a chore for me? Because
Right.
maybe I can get the same result doing it a different way. Or
Hmm.
realizing that, like, maybe it is that you're looking for approval, and then you're like, well, why do I want their approval? And realize that there was this like thing that you've been carrying, it's a baggage you've been carrying with you that
Yep.
really you don't need anymore. And
Yep.
so, like, just pausing for those moments, in those moments of like heaviness and resentment, has really allowed me to make different choices or
Mhm.
do the same task, but with a different
Different.
lens, perspective, and energy around it where it becomes joyful.
Yes. And resentment is such an important thing to pay attention to because it's information. If we're feeling resentful or something, then we need to change something up. And
I'm
that's
writing that
really on
down.
us, I think, because we've then put ourselves in a position where we're no longer honoring our own vision, our own values, our own truths. And we're resentful of that. But that's on us. That's not on other people. That's on us to know where our alignment is and to keep getting ourselves back into alignment. And that will dissipate the resentment, right? I might not want to help you move, but I can say, I'm going to choose to do that because I really love this friend and I really will help them. And I'm going to do that versus, "Ugh, I have to help this person move like on my Saturday." And I should have said no. Like that's on me for saying yes, then. Right. And that's just what you're talking about. That's just that little mindset shift. But I think like listening to resentment is such a nice cue, because it means like we're really out of alignment, like a chiropractor, what, like we got to get back
Yeah.
in place, and what's gone off the rails, because usually it's within our power to change. It's not somebody else that's doing it to us. We're sort of putting ourselves in that position.
I love that. I wrote that down. Resentment is just a piece of data to just
Mm-hmm.
reassess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big into like intuitive living,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that like tuning back inside of myself of what is the right decisions for me in any given moment, whether it's a food choice or an activity, a vacation, a
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
opportunity, like that intuitive part of that. And it really just comes back to what you were saying, which is just asking yourself the question of why do I feel this way?
Mm-hmm.
What is that red? My body's giving me a red flag. It's throwing it up, right? It's
Like,
waving
well,
the flag to say, pay attention.
yep.
Just being able to pause and be like, is there a skill I need to learn? Is there a relationship I need to cultivate or end? Is there like just that curiosity of where is this coming from and what's the meaning rather than just like the power through of I'm just being sensitive or dramatic or suck it up cupcake.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
I, yeah. I've never really thought about that though, in terms of like resentment being one of those flags. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I think the more we can get, like you said, I think that intuitive piece is so important. I try to do it a lot in my own life. I think it's helpful to have goals or frameworks or plans, but I believe we need to be very flexible and pivot if that's just not on the agenda for today. And not because someone took that time away for us or we let someone else take over. But, if my body is like, no, you do not need to do a workout today, actually, like you need to rest. And it's not just like, I'm being
It's
lazy.
not like just the I don't want to, I'm being
Right.
lazy
It's
and I
like,
really need to
no,
get
girl,
up.
like this is not helpful, or you need to do a different type of thing. Then okay, like I need to tune in. My plans that I made on Wednesday don't know my body on next Friday. It's again, it's fine to think ahead, but I think it's thinking ahead within, but why am I even doing a workout? Why am I even preparing this meal? Why am I even going to that thing? If it's really not in alignment, if it's really like not what I need to be doing right now, there's no rules and I don't do it. Like I think who's like the person saying like you're in trouble, like myself, and I do think it's that tension. I say that a lot, like that good tension of you want to be uncomfortable, we want to push ourselves, and don't become complacent and just like, or I'll do whatever I want
Not
at any
care.
minute.
Like you don't want to
Right.
just be flipping and not care.
Right. But make it make sense. We don't have finite, like time is finite. Like there is 24 hours in a day. If we're so busy and have so much going on, we'll then really utilize those hours we're awake to really make sense for what makes sense for us. And if we're thinking of that, then it trickles into everyone else. I show up better in my sessions. I show up better at the workout I'm paying for. I can be a better partner to my partner at night and listen to his day, or we can eat together and I can be present because I tried to make my time make sense and
Yeah.
work for me, you know?
Yeah. 100%. The other, so relevant. This is just so timely. The other day, I got so frustrated because my partner wanted my time and was bothering me. And
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Do you not see me at my desk?" or whatever the thing was, right?
Yeah.
And I like cuz I could feel it started the heat starting to rise. The temperature was rising in my body and I could feel
Yep.
myself getting frustrated. And I paused for a split second and I was like, why am I actually frustrated? And it turned out the reason I was frustrated with him was because I mismanaged my time earlier in the day and now he was bothering me. When in reality, that time
Mhm.
was actually the time where like I don't
That would
typically
normally be your time with him. Yeah.
yeah. And so like but I never communicated that with him. So
Right.
I'm getting mad at him for things that were 100% within my control and I had to like reassess, check and adjust. And then I
Yeah.
had to use my big girl words and be like, "Hey, I really want to
Give me
be
a little
here
bit more
with
time.
you, but like
Yeah.
I messed up earlier today and I need like 20 minutes to just work through on this and then I'm all yours."
Yeah.
Like, but that took me taking ownership of the thing that it wasn't his fault I mismanaged my time. It wasn't his fault I
Mhm.
didn't tell him what I was doing because
Mhm.
sometimes we're on our phone scrolling. I just saw my screen freeze. Sometimes we're just mindlessly
Yeah.
scrolling. Sometimes we're doing something work related.
Yeah.
He can't read my mind. He doesn't know.
No. No. And that's a big one.
So
People can't
timely.
read minds because I think we forget that a lot.
And it's with everything. I do it with my mom too. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
why am I about to bite my mom's head off who just called?
Right.
Oh, because I didn't do
I
X, Y,
shouldn't have
and Z. And
answered.
now I'm like feeling the
Yeah.
pressure of it and taking it out on her. That's
Yep.
not cool.
Yep. But it goes back to like we really have to be listening to ourselves because it's so easy to just get on that autopilot, or like we said earlier, it's way easier to blame everyone else or have it be everyone else's problem, or like deal with their like, oh, they're taking up so much of my time or they're doing this. Like, no, you are the ownership of your own life. Like you are the one who is choosing what to say yes to, what to say no to, how to do this, how to do that, what priority. And so it isn't anyone else's problem, it's our problem.
Yeah.
And that is uncomfortable. Like you said, like it's easier to just pass the buck, but it's also so rewarding. How freeing it has been to say, oh no, like yes, I can be mad at myself or I can be frustrated with myself here, but then I also have all the power to do something about it and make it better. I'm not relying on everyone else. And that's very freeing. And it always kind of gets you back to center. It's not doesn't mean every day is gonna be a great day or we're gonna feel 100% all the time, but it's just a nice reminder if I start to get that saying that like feeling of like, oh, you're bothering me, or I can like take
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I think it's just a really freeing and powerful um sentiment to know we actually are in charge of our lives. We have these internal cues for a reason. And if we use them to our advantage, there it could be really be our friend. It doesn't have to be something that's a
Yeah.
setback or something we're fighting against all the
Yeah.
time.
It's so true because when you take ownership of that, I was saying that, like, the other day, became when I realized why I was frustrated. It then became a conscious choice as to where to send my attention. And
Hmm.
in that moment, spending time with my mom was my intention. I wanted to spend time with her. I wanted to go do the thing, which meant that then I released all the resentment and all the energy for the thing that I was working on.
Yep.
And the next day when I showed up, I had different intentions and was a whole lot easier staying on track because I knew the consequences of not getting the things I wanted to get done in the time I wanted to get them done,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so what did we had talked in the beginning about wanting to share about like how to listen to those whispers.
Hmm.
Women have little things floating through their heads all the time. How
Hmm.
do you go about, just bringing intention and sorting that out for yourself?
I think a really helpful tool that I used more formally and then now it's just more organic is sort of getting in the habit of doing a little check-in when I wake up, middle of the day and before bed. Literally, what am I thinking? What am I feeling emotionally? What do I feel physically? And maybe what's happening around me. And the idea is maybe nothing has to change and you're not meant to judge it like, well, that's a good thought or a bad thought. But if I know I wake up, I have to pee, it's raining, and my cat's yelling down the hall, I'm a little irritable, then that's just information of how I'm starting out my day, right? And so maybe I need to use the restroom, maybe I need to eat something, maybe I need to like just have it be a more low key day because it's a rainy day and it's like a meh day. But just by having that information, even if I didn't necessarily do anything with it, I'm more set up when I'm entering into things I can't control, like other people canceling or things happening last minute or X, Y, or Z. So if you get in the habit of just maybe these 3 times a day, or when you notice some of those cues, the hot feeling, the this feeling, it's like, okay, let me take a second and let me just say what's happening. Because then I'm more in tune with me. I'm checking in and I see how I fit in the world. And then I can see what needs to move to go forward. How did you phrasing it? I'm
Talking
a
about
mess.
like being able to roll with the punches today, right? Not letting it ruin your day. Zoom and I are having a moment.
Oh, good.
But I like that of being able to like check in because let's
Mhm.
take this for example. Later today, if I'm frustrated and agitated, if I pause and think about what's really agitating me, I might be able to see a pattern that might have started with Zoom today of
Yep,
just like that, those little things that seem so
yep,
insignificant in the moment, but when they add up over time can kind of just make us cranky unintentionally. But then
yep.
it's like, oh, I'm not actually mad. I just had a hard day. Let me reframe this.
Right. Or, oh, I just need a snack. Or, oh, I just need to sit down for a minute.
I just
Like,
need a
yeah,
snack.
or some water. Like, it's usually something so minimal that we 100% can do for ourselves. We just aren't in the habit of looking out for ourselves, I think, in the way that we are in the habit of looking out for other people or paying attention to their needs. And to me, that's really sad that we don't. respect or believe that we are important enough to
Hmm.
put that energy towards ourselves as we do to other humans or pets or things in our lives. And that needs to change. And I think that's the narrative that needs to keep getting flipped. That's sort of a mantra I take with me every day. Like my voice matters. I'm having a seat at the table. What do I need today? Because that will help everyone else with what they need too if I'm taking care of me.
I love that so much.
And it can be small stuff. It's not like I need 3 hours a day to go do whatever. It's just, I need to drink some water. I need to make sure I'm eating regularly. I need to make sure I'm using the bathroom. Like it's
I need to
nothing.
go have a dance party with the cat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I need to step outside and see some sunshine for a hot second. Like, I think we complicate it too much, which then we don't have time for. And then ugh,
and
I can't do that. And it goes
well,
away, you know?
the other thing that I used to do and I was really bad at was telling myself, like, oh, that's a dumb idea. That's a dumb dream. That's not
Mhm.
realistic. And now, when we talk about the things that float in and out of our minds, I never judge the idea. I let them go. And sometimes I let my brain go down the rabbit hole of really experiencing and feeling and being in whatever that crazy idea was.
Yeah.
And because you never know, like, if you're constantly telling yourself your ideas and dreams are stupid, then they slow down. And when you just let them free flow, you get so
Right.
creative
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
just, it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
And now I have it went from just like never stop telling myself that you're stupid or those that was unrealistic to now I have like a list of like someday maybes
I
of
love that.
like, you know what, like it's not
Yeah.
a today thing. I definitely can't do that today, but someday maybe let me just write it down.
Right. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because
No,
why not?
it's not gonna hurt. Like, if we limit ourselves, we will stay small. If I
Mhm.
was using this analogy of like I don't know that much about plants. You tell me if I'm wrong, but I know some plants you have to repot, right? So if I kept it in one pot, it has reached its potential. If I repot it, it can get bigger, right? Or maybe do more because it has more room. So if you stay in a small pot forever, you might not die. I mean, well, hopefully you won't die, but the plant won't die. Like it can live. It's an okay plant, but with like what a boring existence when there's 20, you can 20 times your pot size and get so much bigger and see more things and grow taller and be more lush, whatever. That's way more interesting to me.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just have to repot ourselves, and that's that discomfort, that's that tension, that's that like, oh, but it generally is very rewarding. And as someone who's lived in 5 states, half of which I never thought I would like, I lived in Louisiana. I was like, grew up in LA, and I'm like, I'm not gonna live in Louisiana. Great place, loved New Orleans. Then Louisville, Kentucky. I was like, I'm not gonna live in the middle of the country. Are you kidding me? One of the favorite places we ever lived, where my husband and I got married. Like, so if I had to like say to my little pot of like, I just live on a coast and I just do this and I only fuck with big cities, then that's where I would have stayed, and that's fine. But I met some of the most incredible people and had some of the best experiences in these 2 states and cities. I never didn't even know where they were on a map for a period of time. Like, no offense, but I was like, I don't know the states I fly over, and I wouldn't change that for the world. But that's because I was willing to get out of my other pot and get uncomfortable, and I grew. And
I love
and
that.
I think there's so much waiting for us, and life is so big. Just like don't let your fear get in the way. It's just not worth it. Like listen to the voices of curious things, like listen to those big dreams. They're really important. And no, they might not happen today and they might not happen exactly how you're imagining them, but I think a version of them will happen. And it's going to be really awesome when they do, because that's way more exciting than perhaps just like the little box you're in now, which is fine. It's
I
fine.
I love
It's
that because
fine.
you know what? The truth is that sometimes that thing that you thought of may never happen, but it created a stepping stone that would have never existed had you not gotten curious about it.
Exactly.
Which is like it breaks my brain to think about that part. Because there's so many things that, you go after and they don't work out or you give up, you quote
Mhm.
unquote give up on because you decide it wasn't for you.
Right.
But it created a whole new playing field that you never, ever in a million years imagined that you'd even
Yep.
think about.
Yep.
You didn't even know to think about it because it
Yep.
opened a whole new door.
Exactly. And I have so many, my whole life, I feel like has been a version of that. And so I believe it so strongly because I've lived it. But it gets me excited when other people are able to experience it too. And I'm always encouraging people to look for it. I think having a 5-year plan is fine, but if it's way too tight, you're just like right here. And you've missed 18 on other doors and adventures that could have kept you on the very same path, but could have been a little more, add a little glitter, add a
A
little
little bit
that, a
more
little
sparkle.
this.
I
Like,
love that you said glitter
yeah,
because I was thinking sparkle. My
yeah,
body was
right.
sparkling.
Throw a wig on, make it a party. Like I don't know, it's really fun to be like, wow, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I can look back and think of the 18 weird things that all make sense right now that didn't totally make sense then, but now I'm like, and it's just such a freeing, exciting feeling. And I think that's what really living in alignment really feels like.
Ah,
And I'm not always there, but I think the more I can hit that stride, it's like energizing. Even if it's a bad day or it's hard or what, it's not always good, but it's so energizing and it's so magnetic. And then I just want everyone else to feel it too, right? And I think it just gives off this energy of growth mindset that there's not scarcity. We all can be here. We can all do things. We all need each other. And it just brings like this really connected positive love energy that I think our world is really missing these days. Not me versus you. It's like we're here together and
how can I bring
together
you
is
too?
better.
How can I
Mhm.
bring you with me?
Yes, yes. Because people are ahead of me, people are back here, and like let's just keep
How can
keep going.
and not just how can I bring you with me, but how can I share what I'm doing in a way that even sends you further than I ever dreamed of because you
Yes,
have your own path and your
yes,
own adventure to be on that has
yes.
nothing to do with me.
No, it's not competition.
Not
We
a
have to do the
competition.
same things.
I love that so much. I just really appreciate you being right here in this conversation and just letting it go, even with the tech issues, even with me coming on as a hot mess this morning, but like just really being two humans talking
Yeah,
today. Because I think that this is the part that society's missing is just honest, messy, wholesome dialogue.
yeah,
We're afraid to be seen. We're afraid to say things that might offend somebody else. And so, like, we almost don't even know how to have conversations anymore unless everything is picture perfect.
right. But that's not life. I don't know
And that,
any life who's picture
yeah,
perfect. So
right. And
what
it
is
goes back
that?
to where we started of like keeping yourself in this box because you are trying to please everyone else and you don't even know who you are anymore.
Yep.
And so I just really appreciate you being here today and being yourself. How do people connect with you?
The best place would really be to find me on my Instagram. It's at alicia.bowker.mudrock. And my link to like my website and all of the offerings I have are there. My website is alicia-bowker.mykajabi.com, I believe. So they're both there. But yeah, I'm pretty active on my Instagram. I have some pretty exciting things coming up this late summer fall.
Ooh.
And hopefully I'm starting my second round of my Empower Her book club. A new iteration of opening will be in July. Doing a digital course, or not a digital course, like a webinar class with 5 weeks with a colleague of mine on say yes to yourself. So kind of in line with what we're talking about here. I'm definitely going to be adding in some Pilates stuff soon once I get my certification. So hopefully some like mat classes or how to integrate that with sort of mind body the way that yoga really does, but I think Pilates is
At the
another
next
avenue
level.
that can happen. Yeah. So
Oh my gosh, so much
I'm
exciting
excited.
things going on
Yeah.
over there. Go
Yes.
find her, go follow her, go connect with her, go be a human.
Yes.
And with that, that's two humans talking, and I will see you guys next week.